So college scheduling, This is for college coaches and recruits, because when you're recruiting, when you're a recruit and you're looking to go to a college, I mean, you want to understand the scheduling concept, basically because the scheduling determines if you're a winner or a loser. So college coaches now, I mean, no team, no program in the country should be 0-20, right? You got to schedule the right opponents. So now you can use UTR. So if a team is a power 660 and they're playing against a 65, no matter how good your recruiting or your coaching was, you're going to lose. So if you're 5 levels different than the other team, I've never seen that upset. So recruiting, scheduling. I'm going to tell you how we beat Harvard. This is how I beat Harvard. So a lot of thought went into this. I beat Harvard. I got the shirt and everything. So in order to beat Harvard when I was at Old Dominion, I needed some help. So here was the help. It wasn't even my idea to beat Harvard. My friend Paul Kostin, the former coach at Virginia Commonwealth, who could be one of the best coaches of all times, won over 40 conference championships, took his team to the NCAA finals against Stanford. Anyway, so Richmond, where Virginia Commonwealth is about 2 hours from Old Dominion. So Paul Kostin calls me, and we're scheduling matches, and he says, "Hey, Darryl, hey, how would you like to beat Harvard?" And I said, "That sounds good. What do I do? How do I beat Harvard?" And he goes, "Well, this is how it's going to work. We're going to play on this weekend," and I think that weekend was kind of in March. And he goes, "You're going to bring Harvard to Old Dominion, and you're going to house the Harvard tennis team. So you're going to play them on Saturday. And then Virginia Commonwealth, Paul, is going to play them on Sunday." So he says, and at this time, Virginia Commonwealth is all 3 of us are in national rankings, but Virginia Commonwealth is like top 20, Harvard's top 30, and maybe we're top 50, 40, something like that. So he says, "Here's how you're going to beat them, Darryl. We're going to schedule this match in March, and we're going to schedule it around their final exams." He goes, "The Harvard players, they always get a little tense, stressed during final exams." And he goes, "And Darryl, you always want to be Harvard's first outdoor match, because they don't play good their first time outdoors in March. So we're going to schedule this thing around exams, and we're going to schedule it around the first outdoor match." So we did that. We did that for a couple of years, that format. Eventually, we got some wins over Harvard, and VCU beat Harvard. So a lot of strategy went into that about you get it on the first outdoor match and so forth. So these really good college coaches that are winners and winning competing conference championship, they are just not scheduling by randomly. There's some thought that goes into that. So the college coaches out there where they just get the phone call and someone calls them, maybe it's a stronger program, "Hey, do you want to play a match on such and such day?" Good scheduling is saying, from a college coach, is saying no sometimes. You got to say no. Don't say yes. Because if the stronger team's calling you, they're like buddies, making you like they're scheduling wins. They're not scheduling losses. Now, some of your schedule in some conferences, you have no control over. You got to play your conference foes, and or maybe your rivalries or whatever. There's some traditional stuff that you're not going to have control over. But you need to have a winning record. Now, I did tell this to the George Mason coach one time, Steve Curtis. He was on Hilton Head Island, and then he went off of Hilton Head to play some Division II team like Armstrong State or Armstrong. And Armstrong was like 10 UTR points better. So they killed George Mason, men and women. So I called Steve and said, "Why did you schedule that match? I mean, did you look at UTRs?" And this was when UTR was in its infancy. So, because that's no fun to leave Hilton Head Island during spring break to go schedule a match where you're going to get killed. Then as you're driving back, the parents of your players, they think you're a horrible coach and everything because you just lost to this team, questioning everything you do. But point being, like I told Steve, you got to know what the level is before you schedule, because you got to schedule the wins, schedule some toss-up matches. And I'm not saying you schedule a loss, but sometimes that just comes your way. It's a competitive foe. I mean, someone with a higher UTR like Virginia Commonwealth was at the time in the Atlantic 10. So that's how we beat Harvard. Now, I'll give you some other insights. This was a great thing to say no. So I coached Old Dominion 19 years, then coached Virginia Wesleyan for 3 years at a Division III school, and then I coached Norfolk State. All three schools are about 15 minutes apart in the town I was born in, Norfolk, Virginia. So at Virginia Wesleyan, I talked to my players, and basically my players didn't play in February. I mean, they didn't play during the break in the fall, in the spring. So in the past, there was this urgency. You bring them back, and then you start to play matches. I just bagged all of that, because if you play matches in February and they haven't been playing, they get hurt, they get discouraged, they get lose confidence. Not good. So we just hit balls, practice, played in a little bit of local competition. So we didn't play a dual match until spring break. And that was a good rhythm, because we go on spring break, play 4 or 5 matches, come back home, and have our conference schedule. And as a result, that team really, they picked it up. They made the conference finals, that they never done that before. So that was like a new thing. So they went from losing in the semis to actually making the finals, to beating some teams they hadn't beat. So that was cool. Now here's an example, looking at my notes here, here's an example of saying no. I'm coaching Norfolk State, and I get a call from the University of Virginia coach. And he says, "Hey, Darryl, why don't you bring your team up and let's play 2 matches. Let's play 2 in a day." He goes, "This will be great for your guys." Now, when the number 1 team in the country is calling you and telling you this is going to be great for your guys, and he doesn't even know my guys' names, good chance you got to say no. So some of the big dogs like that, they need to, maybe they need these 2 matches because, hey, they like winning. So they like to have that record 25-2 or whatever. But also they maybe they got to, in the NCAA rules now, to go to the NCAAs on an at-large bid, you must have a winning record. So they need to make sure they have a winning record. I'm not saying this was the case with UVA. And then sometimes there's some NCAA infraction with one individual player where you got to set them out of 4 matches. So if they schedule some matches against some lower levels and they're setting them out, then they can play them against the Notre Dames and the Carolinas. So what I told that UVA coach, I said, "Yeah, I'll come play you, but it's going to cost you $2,000 a match, because I need a round of Nike for my guys, and I want you to buy them some pizza and treat them first class." Getting guarantees in college tennis scheduling, if you're the lower school and you're being asked to come up to be, if the other team's going to be the Harlem Globetrotters and you're going to be the Washington Generals, at least get them to pay for it, right? Get them to pay for it. So if you're doing it for free, that's just stupid, if you're taking those losses. So there are guarantees in college tennis. At Old Dominion, when we were a ranked team, for us to go to New Mexico, they would pay maybe like $5,000 plus hotel rooms to at least offset the cost. There's guarantees in certainly college sports, in the football and the basketball, but it does drift down to tennis. So if I'm going to go play the number 1 team in the country in men's tennis, and I got like a couple of 13s and some 11s and 12s, got to get a guaranteed payment to the program. You just can't, it's different if they're going to come to your place. I mean, I try to get that number 1 team, "Hey, since it's such great experience, why don't you get in the van and you guys come down here?" Didn't work. I didn't usually play matches in January and February, but I did play one at Norfolk State that was kind of special. The Princeton coach calls me, Billy Pate, and he asked to play a match against us at William & Mary, which was only an hour away. I knew my guys weren't going to be ready for it, and they're a better team than us. I mean, probably 3 or 4, 5 UTR levels apart when you add up the top 6. Well, anyway, I agreed to play the match because for us to play against Princeton, very prestigious, playing at William & Mary, very prestigious place, a very old university, and so forth. So right before the match, we're not going to win. But my number 3 doubles team of Flavie and Augustine, they asked me, hey, in front of the team, hey, coach, can we play number 1? So I said, sure, you can play number 1. Why don't you guys play number 1? Oh, that'll be great. You guys are going to lose. Maybe we're going to win 2 and 3. Yeah, we're going to stack that number 1 team. Sure, why not? Well, anyway, to make a short story longer, is they won at number 1, and that team was ranked 17th in the country. So Flavian and Augustine, my number 1 doubles team, I mean, it's really my 3 team, my 1 team, they beat the number 17 in the country. They get in the national rankings as a result of playing this match. So my Norfolk State number 1 doubles team in the national rankings. It lasted 2 or 3 weeks. And then eventually we lost to someone we shouldn't have, and boop, you're out of the rankings. But we got in the rankings one time. So we agreed to play that match. Sometimes a coach may agree to play the match because your number 1 player needs a shot. Your number 2 player needs a shot, something like that. So the point being here, though, all these wonderful stories that I shared with you is scheduling. It's a little bit more strategic. Winning doesn't happen by an accident by picking up the phone and just saying yes to every match coming your way. You need to have a thought process about it. And so recruits, when you're looking at these other programs and you're evaluating programs, look at their schedule. But go back and look at the year before schedule and the year before and the year before. So if they're losing to a school like 4 years in a row, shouldn't you take them off the schedule if you could, if you had that option? So scheduling, that's right. I beat Harvard. I coached them up and I beat Harvard. And that's some of the thoughts that goes into the scheduling of college tennis matches. So my man, I want to give a shout out to Byron Balkin at Hampton, Sydney. I don't want a losing program there. I'm mentoring you up, Byron. So Hampton, Sydney, let's get rid of that, no losers. You guys should be going forward. I'm mentoring you up. Schedule it right. Hey, make sure you guys subscribe to this post. And put some more of those obnoxious comments that y'all put down there below. I'd appreciate that. Thanks.